Survive the madness. Black Friday horror stories. This is Mr. H. You're listening to Masked Horror. The Crush in Aisle 7. I'll never forget the Black Friday. I almost didn't make it out alive. I'd set my alarm for 4 a.m., determined to be one of the first in line at a massive department store for a gaming console deal. The plan was simple: get in, grab the console, get out. But nothing prepared me for the crowd that was already packed outside the store. The line seemed endless, people layered in coats, all jostling for a spot as the door stayed locked, taunting us. When the first employee appeared, keys jangling, the crowd grew restless, buzzing with excitement and aggression. Suddenly, the doors opened, and it was like watching a dam burst. People surged forward, pushing and shoving, desperate to get inside. I barely had time to move before I felt the press of bodies against me. The air was thick, with a smell of sweat and perfume, and everyone was yelling, caught up in the frenzy. Somehow, I managed to squeeze through the entrance and head straight to the electronics section, dodging the arms and elbows of shoppers around me. Aisle 7 was right in front of me, and I could see the display with the consoles just a few feet away. There was one left. I pushed forward, reaching out for the box, but someone shoved me hard from behind. I stumbled, trying to keep my balance, but the crowd was too strong. I fell, landing hard on my knees, and before I could get back up, the wave of people closed in around me, pushing and shoving to reach the shelves. The floor was cold against my palms as I struggled to stand, but every time I got a grip, another person's foot slammed into me. Someone's knee jabbed into my back, and another foot hit my arm, and I lost my balance again. Then someone stepped on my hand, and the pain was blinding. I tried to scream, but my voice was swallowed by the noise around me. I felt pressure on my chest, my ribs, my back, feet pressing down, people jostling and stumbling over me, unaware or uncaring that I was lying beneath them. My lungs burned, and I realized I couldn't breathe. The screaming, the pounding of footsteps, the weight, it was suffocating. I tried to claw my way up, but my limbs felt heavy, pinned down by the restless surge of bodies. As my vision started to blur, I could hear snippets of frantic voices above me, someone laughing, someone else cursing, but no one noticed me down there, fading under the weight of their shopping frenzy. My last thought before I blacked out was that this couldn't be happening, that it wasn't supposed to be like this. When I finally woke up, I was in the hospital, bruised, with broken ribs and a concussion. The doctors told me a store employee found me unconscious on the floor, hidden beneath a pile of trampled merchandise. The console, gone. My shoulder is still not the same, and I have permanent nerve damage. And every Black Friday since, I can't go near a crowd without feeling that pressure on my chest, the weight of hundreds of people pressing down, completely unaware. Or worse, completely indifferent. I'm now glad that Black Friday isn't what it used to be, and I now mainly shop online, but I will never forget that Black Friday that changed my life forever. The Parking Lot Stalker. My mom never liked talking about why she stopped going out on Black Friday, but a couple of years ago I found out the truth. After I asked, for probably the 100th time, she finally told me. It happened one year when she was determined to get me the game console I'd begged for since summer. I think it was a PS2. Dad was working late, so she decided to brave the stores alone. She left late that night, thinking it'd be quieter. The store was packed but manageable, and after wrestling through crowds, she managed to grab the last console and a big screen TV she'd had her eye on. She said the trip felt worth it until she got to the parking lot. As she loaded the TV into the trunk, she noticed a car idling a few spaces down, its headlights off. She didn't think much of it at first, but after she got into her car and started driving, She glanced in her rearview mirror and saw those same headlights following close behind. She shrugged it off, thinking maybe they were heading in the same direction, but as soon as she got onto the highway, she realized the car was matching her every turn. Her heart started racing. She tried speeding up, but they stayed right with her, keeping a steady but eerily close distance. To test if they were really following her, she took a random exit, winding down some unfamiliar roads. They followed every turn. Now she was starting to panic. She made another sharp turn and ended up on a narrow, poorly lit street, trees pressing in close on either side. Her mind raced with terrifying thoughts, stories she'd heard of people being stalked, followed home, or worse. She was a true crime fan after all. Unsolved mysteries was her favorite. She looked in the mirror, seeing the shadowy outline of the driver, his eyes shining under the streetlights. In desperation, she pulled into the parking lot of a police station she spotted just up the road. Her pursuer kept going, passing her by without slowing down. She sat in her car, heart pounding, trying to calm herself, hoping she was just overreacting. But something deep down told her she'd avoided something sinister. The next day, she was shaken, but still trying to believe it was just a strange coincidence. That was until she saw a report on the news about a black sedan reported for stalking shoppers around town. Several people had reported a car fitting the same description, claiming it had followed them all the way to their homes. Some even reported their cars had been broken into, valuables stolen, or worse, as one man had been assaulted in his own garage. The driver was still at large. That Christmas, I got my game console, but it came with a price. It was the last Black Friday she ever went out, and every year since when I was a kid, she warned me and my dad about going out alone. Even now, she double-checks locks and glances out the window, and every Black Friday, she warns me to be careful. Now, I know why. Black Friday Special. This story is short, but it's sure to freak out parents. I was 6 years old when it happened. Black Friday, the day when chaos and bargains collide. My parents had dragged me and my older sister Lily to a crowded department store. They were laser focused on snagging a TV, and Lily suggested we play hide and seek to pass the time. It seemed like a great idea. I ducked under a circular rack of winter coats, trying not to laugh as I waited for Lily to find me. Minutes passed, and I stayed perfectly still, convinced I was winning. But when I peeked out, Lily was nowhere to be found. My parents weren't nearby either. Instead, I saw a man in a dark uniform standing a few feet away. He stared at the rack, unmoving. My heart pounded as he walked closer. Suddenly, he spoke. "Are you lost, kid?" It was a security guard. Relief and panic hit me all at once as I realized the game wasn't funny anymore. The next thing I knew, my mom ran towards the guard, frantic and yelling my name. She looked like she might cry as I finally stepped out from behind the rack, sheepishly admitting I'd been hiding. I was hugged, scolded, and grounded all at once. Lily laughed when I got punished, but I still claimed victory. I beat her at hide and seek after all. I didn't get my Christmas gift that year, but I learned my lesson. My parents were more freaked out than I ever was, but at least for one day, I was the hide-and-seek champion, and I was sure to remind Lily of that fact every chance I got.